Good morning, this is Samesh, and I was going through followers, and I've recently incorporated the strategy um, on Spotify using ads for Moshe Halperin, and noticed that had a massive increase in followers since we've started the ad campaign. So, sort of pretty much through June, there's been just a pretty flatlined in terms of number of followers. In fact, it's gone down a little bit in June, and so I just wondered what the significance of the followers is. So I've been just researching that, and you can see here in June the 30th, when the sort of ad campaign started, it's jumped up from 1283 to 1298 and nearly 1300. So 17 followers, 16 followers, which is fantastic. So I just came across this article, just do a search for articles, and I want to read this to you. So how important are Spotify followers? It says, whether it's Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, growing followers is fundamental in becoming a successful artist, but what about Spotify followers specifically? The first thing we pay attention to when it comes to Spotify is our monthly listeners. And yes, don't get me wrong, it's important, but first let's get some vocabulary out of the way so we know what we're talking about. So monthly listeners are unique listeners who play your music during a 28-day period. Followers, people who like or follow your artist profile. Okay, so Spotify prioritizes monthly listeners. So monthly listeners gives you a snapshot of how the artist is doing this month. We all know how the variable this number is. You can go up or down. Ultimately, your goal should be turning these unique listeners into followers and therefore fans. So this has something to do with release radar. So how does Spotify's release radar work? Unlike Instagram and other social media, Spotify doesn't have a feed with which the latest releases from your accounts you follow. But what they do have is a playlist called Release Radar. So Release Radar is an algorithmically generated playlist that's created individually for each Spotify user on a weekly basis. According to Spotify, Release Radar generates more streams than any other curated playlists. So that's pretty important, right? Because I'm saying to artists now that you should have a 4-week release cycle, and that's because when you release a track, your new release goes into the Release Radar for 4 weeks. So you should be releasing every single 4 weeks, and that means you'll consistently have something in your Release Radar. So your Release Radar, basically what that says is that, so if I go down here, I just wonder if I can see it. If I go your episodes, let me just pause this quickly. Okay, so this is an example of Release Radar. So this is in made for Smash, and if I open the Release Radar, it's showing me that Tallulah Rendell's released a track, which is true, correct? And then all these other people have also released tracks. So it gives you like a playlist of the latest tracks that have been released by people that you follow. So this could be pretty cool. Could be pretty cool to be on that list, right? You can see in here in Spotify for Artists, under Moshe Halperin Spotify for Artists, he hasn't released anything in the last 4 weeks. So Release Radar, there's no song title available and no listeners. That's at least in the last 28 days. Let's look at his full stats for the full amount of time that he's been on Spotify. So if you see that, his Release Radar 10 songs has basically got him pretty much as many as the radio, his radio playlist. So it does look like Release Radar is like super important. Looks like it has like a lot of listeners, a lot of streams. Super important there. Okay, so back to the article. Release Radar is an algorithmically generated playlist that's created individually for each Spotify user on a weekly basis. According to Spotify, Release Radar generates more streams than any other curated playlist, which makes perfect sense. If you have 100 followers on Spotify, your next release will land on 100 Release Radar playlists every week. If you're consistent with your release schedule, you will automatically grow your streams. So this is all about being consistent with your release schedule. So like releasing on every 4 weeks. It says, as you can see, I have 3 songs on my followers release radar, generating a little over 200 streams a month. This isn't crazy amount, but the streams keep growing as long as I focus on growing my followers. Other playlists, such as editorial and listener-created playlists, are out of your control. You might get on, or you might not. Why focus on uncertainty? I'm not saying not pay attention to these. They're one of the best tools to get music discovered by new listeners and hopefully convert them into followers or fans. All I'm saying is to focus on your followers and not your monthly streams. Okay, cool. So, so this is a good article. I'll actually copy this article if you want to read it for yourself. It's got a bit more information about upcoming things that Spotify are doing, and it's just good to see that the work that we're doing, the followers are increasing, which is fantastic. So the strategy definitely works. Let's see, followers are doing great, and that's going to have an impact. Definitely those followers will have an impact when you start releasing music, because those releases will go onto their followers release radar playlist. Have a great day. Bye.